Much awaited Spanish GP is over. Max Verstappen again emerged as a winner. However, it wasn't the easiest win for him, like what we saw at Imola GP. Lando Norris's McLaren was after him. That McLaren, without any new upgrades, is fast, and now Lando Norris is not happy anymore, being second best driver on the grid. He's eyeing for the win. He wants to beat Max Verstappen in each and every race. This season is going crazy. Pace of that Mercedes is legit, what we saw in Canadian GP. And what happened to Ferrari, being second best team on 2024 grid so far and have taken 2 wins till now, they are now behind Mercedes. What's wrong with them? So guys, let's discuss what Spanish GP taught us. Let's start with the Red Bulls. Like every other weekend since Imola, we have seen that Red Bull struggling. However, somehow they are turning on the things on quali and on race days, with Max Verstappen agreeing that their car is not dominant this year and they are struggling. Checo's performance is going down race by race. Red Bull's advisor Dr. Helmut Marko said that Spanish GP will be a decider for performance issue, and if they struggle, they need to revisit the philosophy of the current gen car. Before coming to Spanish GP, Max Verstappen had a secret test at Imola track with 2022 car. This shows that they are struggling and want to see where they can improve compared to 2022 car, or if they want to go back to the old routes. Let me know what do you think about this. What I think is, in the Spanish GP, Max Verstappen, with the help of George being in second position, actually helped him to create a gap to Lando, which enabled him to bring home the victory. In later stages, we saw how close Lando was to him. Coming to McLaren, they are genuinely the second best team on the grid right now. They are close to Red Bull in quali as well as on race runs. One thing to keep in mind that Red Bull came here with heavy upgrades, and since Miami, McLaren is running without any new upgrades. Yet it is so close to the Red Bulls. What I think is McLaren is better than Red Bull because it can perform well on straight tracks as well as on high speed tracks. Lando was not able to optimize the pole, which hampered his race. Oscar Piastri was out of sync today. He couldn't close the gap to the front runners. What I also think that Lando's race was destroyed by both the Mercedes because Mercedes were slower than Red Bull, which created the gap, and Lando caught up in overtaking Mercedes drivers. And on the other hand, Max had the luxury to drive in the clean air. All in all, a strong race by Lando Norris. Coming to Mercedes, looking at the current performance of Mercedes, I think they are the third best team on the current grid, beating Ferrari. They are back in the game now. Their development has started working in the right direction, and I think by end of the season, they could be able to challenge the Red Bulls. Let me know what do you think. While it's good to see that both the drivers getting on the podium, however, one thing is strange that their strategies goes wrong with either of their drivers. In Canadian GP, they messed up Lewis Hamilton's race, and now they messed up George. With 2-3 laps left, Charles would have overtaken him. We generally don't see messy strategies from Mercedes. Let's see what they bring at Austrian GP. Coming to Ferrari, P5 and P6 is not they would have thought here. That heavily upgraded SF24 Evo fell short on performance in comparison to Red Bull, McLaren and Mercedes. I guess the upgrades on Ferrari is not working as it should have been. Charles with fresh tires was not able to close the gap to Mercedes. Lap times of Lewis Hamilton on 10th lap old tires were similar to Charles. This says a lot. At Spanish GP, Ferrari lagged race pace and quali pace too. Till Miami, their performance was very good. They were second best team on the grid. Since the launch of the upgrades in Imola, it has not given any performance gain, and rivals have gained more performance compared to Ferrari. One thing surprises me that in post-qualifying interview here and in Imola, both the drivers were saying that they were expecting a podium and they were 2 tenths down on McLaren and Red Bull. Either Ferrari is playing here by showing that they are strong, or the data from simulators and on-track performance is not matching. They have started to come down in both the championship. Lando Norris overtook Charles in the Drivers' Championship. In post-race interview, Fred said that the track won't suit them, but how strange it is not to build a track which works on high-speed tracks rather than on a straight track. Not every circuit is like Monaco. Upcoming tracks of Austria and Silverstone will hurt them more. And I think by end of the triple header, McLaren will lead them in constructors too. Now coming to rest of the grid, Aston Martin once again had a terrible weekend. They are bringing upgrades weeks after week. However, nothing is working for them. They are going back day by day. I think they should bring back their 2023 car. Can they do? What do you think? Well, the answer is they can't. This year's car have double safety on rule hole bar. Whole structure is constructed as per new regulation. So they restrict them to bringing their old car to the 2024. Let's see how they will be able to come out of these hard times. Alpine is the team which surprised me the most. Another weekend and another points earned. They have now surpassed Haas in the constructors. The team is back in the rhythm. All in all, strong pace by them. Coming to RB, they had a shocker of weekend at Spanish GP. The upgrades brought here were not working, and without upgrades, RB was a strong car. However, let's see how they could sort out this issue they are having. Coming to Williams, prior coming to the weekend, they said this track won't suit them, and exactly that happened. Albon had a great qualifying, however, engine change made him to start race from the pit lane, which hampered his race, and he could not come out of it. Coming to Haas, after a wonderful start to the season, they started to sink. They used to earn points in every other race weekend, however, now we can find them at back of the grid. By looking at Alpine's progress so fast, I think Haas can also bounce back very soon. Last but not the least is Kick SAUBER. Both the drivers are struggling. Till now, they are on 0 points. Hope upcoming tracks could help them in gaining some points. So guys, Austrian GP will be very exciting. Could McLaren spoil the party of Red Bull at their home race? Fight between McLaren, Mercedes and Ferrari is helping Red Bull to stay top in constructors with only one driver. And this is what Dr. Helmut Marko said. In Spanish GP, we saw how Mercedes spoiled the race for Lando Norris, or McLaren should have wanted Oscar battling with Mercedes, which could have made a way for Lando to chase Max. What do you think? Will McLaren be able to beat Red Bulls at Austrian GP? See you all in my next video.